Hi everybody. I thought we could have maybe a little story time today as part of our Mantra Monday. I owe all of you an update and I feel ready to do that today. So thank you for, oh my gosh, just all the overwhelming support and love throughout this process. Some of you know what's going on. Some of you might be like, what the heck is she talking about? So I'm here to tell the full story today. And I guess where I want to start is that it's been really hard for me to talk about the experience, not because I'm in a bad place with it or I feel like it's so emotional or anything like that. I don't know what to make of it yet. And so I've had such a hard time because I feel like I should update people and tell people the story, but I don't feel like I fully know how to tell the story yet. And I guess what I'm learning is that's okay. And I don't feel like there's ever an end, and the lessons are going to be never ending. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm just going to share what I feel like the biggest lesson for me in this moment is. And there's been a bazillion other ones that I've already gone through. But I'm realizing it's just part of my story now, and it's going to be part of what I share. And it will evolve with time. So here we go. Gonna try and make this as short as possible, but we're gonna start in May. So in May, for my 30th birthday, Michael and I visited Sayulita, Mexico, and we fell in love with everything about it. It's like wellness, personal development, spirituality, active lifestyle, young people who are just living their life to the fullest, and they're like, this is the way that I want to live my life, and I don't care what, society is telling me to do and grind, and I'm not going to live that way. And it was just amazing, and we just felt so inspired and so aligned there. And we had a conversation on the beach one of the final nights, and we were like, what would it be like to live here? And it was kind of just like that dreamy state. But usually when I put something out there, when I put like a dream that I've been thinking about, it's probably gonna happen. So we had that conversation, and then we got back home to San Diego, and we were like, I actually had a coaching session, and I was like, I want to do this. I had total clarity around it. We're getting married in August. We plan to have a family, and like now is the time that we want to experience life and travel and do the things that we won't be able to do as much as easily with a family. And so, the process of decision making together, I have the perfect partner, and we decided to do it. So we decided to do it. We decided to sell every single thing we have. We fit all of our stuff into 2 big suitcases, 2 small suitcases, and then the dogs. And this was a huge process, not only getting rid of all of our stuff, but figuring out how to get the dogs to Mexico, figuring out job situations, internet, all of that stuff, saying goodbye to our friends, even if we only had planned on being there for a year and then coming back after the wedding. But it was a thing. It was a thing. We had a goodbye party. It was like they are going to be gone for a while. Then we get to Mexico, and as you may know, if you were looking at the stories, it was phenomenal. It was like some of the best times of my entire life, and it was just felt so aligned and so everything we wanted. And it was that. It wasn't, I don't like to do the whole social media lying thing. It really truly was that. And we were starting to think about, oh, maybe this is a longer term thing even than a year. So that was all unfolding, starting to meet people, starting to get involved, having a great time. And then slowly we started getting weird symptoms that we didn't really think anything of, because we were kind of just like, oh, we're getting adjusted to a new city. We're out of our comfort zone. We're eating different types of foods. But it was like weird symptoms that you might kind of brush off. So I actually took off a Monday before everything went down because I was having body aches and my stomach was upset, but I didn't really think that much of it. I was just like, oh, this will pass. We were both having a lot more anxiety than normal, but we were kind of like, well, we're out of our comfort zone, so of course that makes sense. I was having severe insomnia. I was up to like 3:30, 4 o'clock, just like not able to sleep for several nights in a row. Digestion issues, just weird things like that like could happen, but you would probably just brush off. So this was happening for weeks, for Michael more than I, and then I don't know how to tell this. We had actually decided to move back sooner because of some of the health issues that we were already having. We decided that we were going to move back when we came back in December. And we had only told some people. We had just started telling people this, I think on a Tuesday. It was definitely one of the hardest decisions we made as a couple to move back for our health, because we had this vision and this dream of what the year would be. And there's so much involved with that. It's like grieving what you thought the year would be and what you thought Mexico would be, and this adventure and everything you've created in your mind. Like you're letting go of that and you're releasing that. And then it's like, okay, when you're making a decision as the couple, it's like different people feeling bad for different reasons and the guilt involved. It was a lot just to make that initial decision. I think we came to that on like a Monday or Tuesday, and we had started telling some of the people that we would be back. And then on Wednesday, so we started like planning, okay, this is what our year is going to be. We're going to fit all these, or this month, we're going to fit all these things into this month, all these things that we've been wanting to do and these experiences. We're going to make it like such a good final month. And then on Wednesday, I went into a Zoom session, and in the middle of it, I felt like I was having allergies. And then by the end of it, my eye had swollen up. I think maybe I posted some on my story, but it had like swollen almost shut. And I got out of the session and Michael freaked out. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Like, let me take some Benadryl. I'll lay down for a little bit. I'm sure it'll go away. Did not go away. After like an hour, it was still there. And Michael had been texting some people in the town, and somebody mentioned mold poisoning, that's an issue in some of the houses there. And so I call up my friend, Jacob. Thank you so much, Jacob. He does asbestos testing, mold testing. He knows all of the ins and outs from the science world. And so I call him up. He walks us through our apartment to check for different things. And he asks us about our air conditioning and the air conditioning unit. And he said, open that bad boy up. We open it up. And all of this stuff, I don't even know how to describe. All this stuff falls out of the air conditioning. It's black, there's bugs, it's disgusting. It's like just falling from this air conditioning unit. And most of you saw our apartment. It was like a nice new apartment. You would have never expected that. Obviously, it's part of, living in a humid climate, and where we were like in the jungle. But people had started talking about mold symptoms, and we looked them up, and it was everything that I had described plus more of the symptoms that we had been having. And then this eye swelling and allergic reaction to breathing in, all of the things that fell out. So we went to the hospital there in town, and they said that they were pretty sure that that's what it was too. They gave us some steroids and whatever. And then it was really bad. If you guys were following along, I was completely out of commission pretty much. I don't think I barely left bed. I only did the few times that I absolutely needed to, but for about 3 days or so, I was completely knocked out pretty much. So after the hospital, we felt in pretty much crisis mode. We were both very sick. We both didn't particularly know why. We both, the people there spoke some English, but not very good. And we don't speak Spanish, so that was hard. And we just felt, when you don't have the care, if you're not able to get the care or understand what's going on, is it mold poisoning? Is it something else? Will this just pass? You just totally feel like in fight or flight mode, and you just want to feel safe, and you want to feel safety, and you want to feel, if it is the mold poisoning, we need to do things to, we detox or heal our bodies. So with all of that, we immediately felt like we were not safe in our Airbnb. So we got a different Airbnb that night. My family and friends were so helpful. They were behind the scenes helping us out, looking and sending us medicine and stuff already to San Diego. So we moved everything across town. Keep in mind, Michael is so sick, but he is amazing, and you will see more of that in the story. so the Airbnb we rented was about a half a mile across town. We don't have a car. It's so humid. And it is like, we have to get out of this apartment. We need to get to a safe spot. So we have all of our stuff, our 2 70-pound suitcases, our 2 smaller suitcases, everything. We had, decorated the house. We were like settled in. I am laying in bed, like unable to do anything. And he is throwing everything in suitcases, packing everything up, getting the dogs ready. We were fostering a cat. He was like getting everything together for that. We walk all the way across town. He carries pretty much everything. I don't know how he did it. We walked to the Airbnb, and we have the dogs too. So that's all the thing. Got to the Airbnb. We'll save some stories for later, but pretty much I just passed out on the Airbnb bed, and Michael worked to get everything figured out for what we needed to do. So at some point in there, we were like, we have to go back now. All our stuff is already packed up. It just makes sense. We don't feel safe in this environment. We got to figure out, our health is most important. And something in us was just like, we just gotta get home. So we made the decision that we were going to move back amongst all of this. So we were just in crisis mode, and it's like, you just have to do what is the best option for yourself in that moment. So that's what we did. I'll leave a lot of the story out. Michael is a saint. He got our deposit back from our apartment, talked to them about the whole situation. He found another foster mom for our little kitty. He took our deposit to a bank that didn't accept the deposit without a passport, so we had to go back on the way to the airport. He took the dogs to the vet so they could get their certificate to fly. Like, he was doing all of these things while sick, and I was passed out in a bed. We had to move Airbnbs the next day because the Airbnb only lasted. It was just pure chaos, and I feel like I don't even remember a lot of it, and I don't know how to tell the story in a cohesive manner. But hopefully this is making sense. And just so severely sick that all we cared about was feeling some sense of safety, grounding, whatever. So we booked a flight for Saturday, literally 3 days later. So within the span of a week, we're going from complete paradise, this is the best thing ever, to, oh my God, are we dying? Are we dying? We need to go home. So thank goodness, like, everything worked out. Of course, it was horrible and hard, but dogs, everything flew back. Our friend was nice enough to pick us up at the border. We get back and we stay with Michael's family for a week, and we're pretty much just like recovering. So here we are, 3-4 weeks later, I don't know, in our San Diego apartment. And obviously there's so much with that logistically. Moving, getting our new apartment, moving the dogs in, money, business, all of that normal human stuff. And then there's the human emotion stuff of it. And then there's the trying to process the situation part of it. And there's going to be, as I said in the beginning, a lot that's unfolding for me and that I will continue to share. But the big thing that's coming up for me that I want to share today is I had this moment, and I think we all do a lot, where we question our knowing. And my knowing told me absolute certainty I am supposed to go to Mexico. Like, that happened. And when all of this misery unfolded, I started questioning that. I was like, did I get it wrong? Is my intuition off? And if you guys know me, I live my life by following my knowing. It's the most important thing to me. And when all of this happened, I started to question that. I don't know if question that is the right word, but it felt like a big challenge. And so the place that I'm at with it is back to what I've always believed, which is I think there are some of us that can just be here and some of us that have to be here. And those of us that are here, and probably if you're watching me, you believe that we are here to evolve, and it's just impossible to not grow. I just can't not. And my life is devoted to evolving and becoming a better version of myself every day and in the best ways that I can, and to help others do the same. That is like my life mantra. That is what I believe. And without doing hard, new, scary maybe things, that just cannot happen. So, this to some people might look like a failure, right? Oh, okay, they moved to Mexico and it didn't work out, and now they're back here in San Diego. We decided we're going away party, and now we're seeing people after a month and a half. And that could be labeled as a failure. But to me, I don't believe in failure. I believe that we try things and we learn things, and then we may be redirected or we may continue on the same route. I have learned more through this experience than most other situations in my life. I have learned so much. My relationship is stronger than ever because of what we went through together. I have more clarity around what is most important to me. I have learned so much about myself, where I'm at in this part of my life, and I would not have been able to do that without trying. So while our trip was much shorter than we anticipated, I am so grateful that we did it. I am so, so grateful. My knowing was spot on. It is what I needed at this point in my life. And there was no bigger, greater way for me to learn and grow than to do that experience. So for our mantra, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to say it at the end. I just think of all these different situations that people are in where we question and we say, well, like, what if something bad happens? There's so much fear that we heard going into this trip. We didn't really particularly have this fear, but like, there is so much bad that could happen and so much hard that could happen from moving to a different country. There's so much hard and bad that could happen from starting your own business. There's so much hard and bad that can start from leaving a long-term relationship. There's so much hard and bad that can start from trusting somebody with your entire life in starting a relationship at 30 years old. There's so much hard and bad that could happen in trusting a new friendship. Like, there's always bad that could happen. There is always bad that can happen when we are not playing it safe. And even when we are playing it safe, there's so much hard and bad that could happen. So to me, why not do the thing that you really want to do? Like, if you want to work for yourself, it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard. But if you work for somebody else, it is also going to be hard. So I think that we should be choosing the hard that feels aligned and feels like what we want to do with our lives. And so if something's coming up for you and you're questioning, you're saying like, oh, well, what if this bad thing happens? And what if X, Y, and Z, and all our fear arises? Well, also, if you're a growth-oriented person, there's no way to stay safe and grow and evolve. And with putting yourself in hard situations, now when I'm confronted with hard things in life, I have more experience in more situations and more things to pull from to know that it's just part of life. We're just gonna continue to have these ups and downs and really hard things happen. And the more we kind of throw ourselves into situations that are going to be challenging, the more resilience we build and the more we're able to navigate all that life's going to throw at us. So that's where I'm at today. I am super grateful that we had the experience. It really, truly was, there's way more to the story, but it was one of the most challenging experiences of my life. And these past 3 or 4 weeks while I've been, ghosting the world, I have been able to process, and I through it all have never felt bad about the experience. I really feel completely where I'm supposed to be, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I know there's going to be more to come from this experience and more that I'm going to learn and be able to grow, but that's where I'm at today, and trying to, give an update after being gone for so long. The biggest thing for me right now is, like, it hurts more to wonder, for me, and probably a lot of you, it hurts more to wonder what it would be like or what would have happened than it does to just try it. and maybe some bad things happen to you. Like, I am more grateful for trying and it not going so well than not trying and wondering the rest of my life what it would have been like to live in Mexico. So thank you guys so much for all of your love and support. I literally cannot believe it, and I cannot send enough love to everybody that's helped us through this situation and just sent their wisdom and sent their love. Thank you so much. I love you all. And I would love to hear what's coming up for you around this topic, or maybe what you've been holding yourself back and trying because you're worried about what's going to happen. So have a lovely week. I love you all.